Yeah,
things if I want to. Okay, let's see if
you like. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Dr. Dave Clarke here, Dr. Narc, small n, of course. And welcome to our last live stream of 2024. This is going to be it. We're going to cruise into the new year, and then we've got a lot of exciting things planned for the new year, including a brand new book. We're glad you're here. Today, I'm introducing two new products. And one is this t-shirt, which you can see, Fire the Narc. Here's the story on that. Little Chloe Dugas, who's 2 years old. We're in the car with Phil and Nancy, their parents, and David, who's named after me, wonderful little kid, and of course, Sandy the blonde. And we're driving somewhere talking about, and it came up, what if somebody, got fired? And so we're talking about people being fired from jobs. And Chloe, who repeats everything, and she's brilliant, all of a sudden yells out, fire, fire, fire. Well, it may have been Phil Dugas, I'm not sure who it was, but said we should do a t-shirt on that, Fire the Narc. And I think Chloe said, fire the narc. Anyway, she's 2 years old and she hates narcs, and that's a good thing. We're starting her early. Now, this is a shirt that you can get. It's on the website if you'd like to. Might be smart to wait after you divorce the dirt ball before you wear it around. But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. And then second, we're launching the ebook version of my video series, From Codependent to Independent. This is still going to be a video series. And if you get the video series, you get the ebook automatically. But now we've decided that we're going to bring out the ebook version of this video series. And we've already had a number of sales, which is good. So now you can get the ebook by itself. It's the same content as the video series, but of course, for much less money. $220. I'm not talking $2.20, $220, of course, for the video series, 21, I think, videos. But this ebook, same cover, is $20, same content. So if you want to see me in person and doing my thing in video, and many people do, great, you can still buy that. But you can get this ebook for much less, because we do care here. We want to make things affordable. Let me just give you a little bit about this ebook. And then the plan today is going to be, I'm gonna read a little bit of the introduction of this ebook, give you a flavor for it, From Codependent to Independent, 21 things you must do before leaving the narc. And then we're going to interact like I do, 35, 40 minutes, interact, your questions, your comments. And I'll just usually do my thing. I'll say stuff that comes into my head and we'll go from there. Okay. So about this book, From Codependent to Independent, here's the idea. I teach you in the book how to get righteously angry. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to break the trauma bond unless you are angry. And so we cover righteous anger to a degree in this book. How to emotionally detach from the narc, absolutely essential. How to respond to 18 types of narc abuse. Specifically respond, what you say, what you do, that strengthens you. And my friends, as you are responding, and of course it doesn't happen overnight, but I'm teaching you how to move into this arena in front of the kids particularly, and the narc is doing his thing, and you're going to start to speak up, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this book. What to say briefly, kind of slip in the knife, slip it out. You're earning the respect of your kids, and you're showing them the truth about the narc. If there is no competing truth, you lose. You'll lose the kids. We don't want that. So if you've already started to lose them, we're going to get them back with this book. It'll shred your codependency, and it will stop the narc from turning the kids against you, and prepare both you and the kids to get the heck away from the narc. This is our whole ministry, Fire the Narc. And really, there is no video series, in my opinion, or a book quite like this one. Of course, I only read my own books, but I'm just telling you, I think it would really, really make an impact in your life. Okay, I'm going to check in a few things and see what's going on, make a few comments, and then I'm going to read just a little bit of the introduction of this From Codependent to Independent ebook, and then come back to your questions. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we've got here. I love you, doctor. You're right on. Well, thank you, Charisse. You are so right. I do my best. People are very kind. All right. Okay, let's see what we got here. Andy's checking in. Good for you. Yeah. Here's one. I'm going to click on this. This looks interesting. Yeah. I'm emotionally detached, Jill says, but I cannot get angry after he cheated online under a secret identity. Listen to this. And I hear this a lot. almost every day, hundreds of women, he is still trying to get back with me. Oh, you know he is. He wants to stay married to you, Jill, because you're convenient, he saves money, you make him look good, and he loves to control you. This will be the joy of his life if after he knows you know all this about him, and still he can win you back. What you're going through is a trauma bond. This is a good start from codependent to independent, the ebook or the video series, Jill. But there's new books all the time coming out, but I've got a book specifically on the trauma bond called Codependent Hell that's coming out in January. That's the book for you. So you're working on the emotion attachment, but the anger is a key piece. Many people are sweet and kind and passive, and that's not going to get the job done. I'll get you angry. Ask the blonde. I can get women angry. Just one of my gifts. Anyway, so you're going to be able to get this done. I'm just telling you. But it's a trauma bond. And you have to fake it till you make it. In many cases, do not take his sorry narc butt back. Do not. He's schmoozing you. Hundreds of women, you have all kinds of biblical reason. Okay. Well, here's a lady I talked to on the phone. Sweetheart, love talking to me on the phone. People do love talking to me on the phone. Well, why wouldn't they? The phone advice, God is blessing that in many ways. Yes. Here's a good one. Let me look at this. And I'm going to answer a few questions here, and then I'm going to read this introduction. But what is your advice for someone dealing with a narcissistic pastoral leader? Oh, yeah, Melody, this happens all over the place. Now, it's not always the case. Sandy and I have been all over the country. Part of my training, we went all over, and internship and all the things we've done. We've been here for a long time, but we've been in a lot of churches with wonderful pastors, godly men, godly women on the staff. But these narcissists are out there, and you come across one if it's in your church. The bottom line is, and this is easy to say, but it's the truth, you're probably going to have to leave. They are masters at that. What they'll do is they'll gain control of the leadership. One of the first things the narc does, narc pastor, and he'll get a series of weak men and women, and he'll have them, and they're solidly in his camp. And so you won't be able to, if you could somehow remove the guy, hey, terrific. I wouldn't beat my head against that wall too much. You're probably just going to have to leave and move on. It's not something you want to fight. Let me look at this. Yeah. Hi, Dr. Clarke. My ex might have been high-functioning autism. Yeah, I've come across that, but also psychopathic. Yeah, not a good combination. He always said he has never been able to be married longer than 3 years. Yeah, I believe it. Not sure if that is Asperger's. You know what? Yeah, it could very well be. Not unusual at all. And I'm telling you this right now. I don't care, and frankly, God doesn't care if your husband is on the spectrum, autism, Asperger's, mental disease of some kind. If he is abusing you and he refuses to seek treatment, there are excellent treatment now for autism. All the spectrum disorders, people well trained, they can figure this out. There's medication, there's clinical approaches. If he refuses to do that and he's harming you, destroying you and your kids, I don't care what he's got. You divorce him and you move on. I've had couples where it seems like it's usually the man, but the man has Asperger's, autism, whatever, on the spectrum, but he's a good guy. He's a decent guy. He's getting help. I didn't work with this, but I would refer him to people that knew what they were doing, and he was working. Of course, the marriage was affected, but they built a wonderful marriage. Why? Because he wasn't a narc. If you've got someone who's on the spectrum and is a narcissist, it doesn't matter what else he's got. Narcissism is your problem, and they don't change. Oh, I love the t-shirt. Yes, thank you. I think it's a winner. Yes, I do. Absolutely. This is an interesting one. Functional neurological disorder. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's involved there. I was not really a neurological psychologist. Again, if this is your partner, you get the best neurologist that you can get. And there are some psychologists that I know of anyway, who this is their arena. They know how to test for it. They know how to identify issues neurologically. And so if he's willing to do all those tests and get the best treatment money can buy, okay, you'll go through it with him. If he refuses to do that, well, then that's a different story. Then you very well may have to move on. Here's a good one. What if the narc has rumination disorder? Oh my goodness. Okay, the bottom line is, as I just mentioned, if you've got a narcissist on your hands, it almost doesn't matter what else he's got. Okay, addiction, on the spectrum, rumination disorder, these obsessive compulsives will drive you nuts. You're leaving a room, and before you can clip the light off, the OCD person has gotten there first. Everything has to be spick and span. They'll come outside the front door 4 times to make sure it's locked. It'll drive you nutty. Now, that's bad enough. Again, there are treatments for that. If all you've got is an OCD partner, okay, whatever, tough, but it's manageable. And if he gets help for it, or she, fine. But if they're a narcissist, no. Oh, no, 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 no. This would be a horrible combination. The narc ruminating over all the things that are bad about you and all the stuff that he's upset about. Oh, nightmare. You're going to have to get away from that guy. Okay. Now keep the questions coming, and I'll be checking in, but I'm going to go back to, I'm going to read this introduction because I want you to get a good flavor for this From Codependent to Independent ebook. It is a winner. Anyway, so listen to this. You and your children have suffered enough damage from the narc. It's time to stop trying to get the narc to love you. He never will. It's time to stop trying to get the narc to change. He never will. I talk to ladies all day long. He's not changing. I'm telling you, he's not going to change. They want to believe it. They'll go back. Like this one lady is thinking about going back to the narc after he's been with hundreds of women. You don't do that. He's not changing. It's time to stop trying to save your marriage. There are marriages that cannot be saved. If you're married to a narc, that's a marriage that cannot be saved. 99.99% cannot be saved. It's time to get ready to leave the narc and divorce him and fire him. That's what our ministry is all about. Now, leaving is easy to say. It's brutally hard to do. It takes time and tremendous effort. It seems impossible. It's incredibly hard. That's why I have all these materials on the website, davideclarkephd.com, Clarke with an E, to help you do just that. From the beginning of the process all the way through to the end. And then after divorce, how to heal, how to move on. Most of the abused spouses I work with tell me, Dave, I know I need to leave. These are smart women, and they know the Lord, most of them. But they say, but I don't know how. I'm not ready. I'm scared to death of all the things that could happen. I tell them, I know, and that's okay. You're not leaving today. You're not leaving tomorrow, next week. It's my job with God's help to show you how to leave. That's what we do in this ministry. So what will this book do for you? This ebook and the video series, but we're talking about the ebook here. From Codependent to Independent. Number one, it will get you back. 3 things it will do. It will get you back because you've lost yourself along the way. You get consumed and folded into the narc. And who are you? And what's your personality and your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts? Gone. Living with a narc takes everything from you. You're going to get you back. You're going to take back control of your life. Number 2, it will get your kids back. You, right now, if you live with a narc, you're in the process of losing your kids. Now, you might not. But the narc is, most of them are actively involved in winning the kids over to their side. It can be obvious or it can be behind the scenes or both. You need to get their respect back. You've lost their respect, and love follows respect. You get their respect back. And this book will help you do that. Before you leave, you want to have the kids starting to realize, oh, mom's assertive. Mom's earning respect. Mom's speaking truth. Mom's not a doormat. I think maybe there are 2 points of view. If there's only one point of view in a home, and that's the narc's, even though it's obviously wrong and evil and sinful, it carries the day. You're now going to bring in, with this book's help, the competing view. I think, I feel, that's wrong, that's abusive, dad's wrong, that's a lie, and it will start to make a huge difference. And thirdly, this video series, and of course the ebook that we're talking about, will get you away from the narc, responding to all the 18 different types of abuse. Okay, so there we go. I think that's a great book. Of course, I wrote it. What would I think? And I think it will really make a difference. If you're in a situation with a narc and you need to get strong, start chipping away at your trauma bond, shred your codependency, and get strong enough to leave and get your kids back, this is the book for you. Okay, let's see what we've got going on, and we will just be talking and interacting here for the rest of the time. Here's a good one. Dr. Clarke, I really wish you would do a show just for the guys on covert narcissist wives. Yeah, that's good. I often talk to the wives, as you guys know, but the material fits you too. They are definitely very manipulative. I'm going to consider that. Phil Douglas of Douglas Creative Marketing. Yeah, write that down. I think that might be a good one. We could talk about the ladies because they're out there too. Oh my goodness. Talk about shrews. Oh man, they'll rip your heart out and smile while they're doing it. Yeah. See what this one says here. I'm just gonna clip around and see what looks interesting. And all your input's great, of course. Okay. I joined a church and they never asked about my divorce. It was due to abuse. Okay. After a year, the pastor asked me if I had repented. Excuse me? He never asked why I was divorced. See, that's just really, it's a case-by-case basis. He thinks that all divorce is sin. Oh, for heaven's sake. I've come across plenty of these pastors, absolute clueless wonders, and they don't know the word of God. There are 3 biblical reasons for divorce: abandonment by the unbelieving spouse, chronic emotional abuse, and adultery. And in many cases with a narc, you've got all 3 because the narc is not a Christian either, and he's abandoned you emotionally, let alone physically. But they don't believe that. They don't think there's any real reason for divorce. And if you were divorced, then you're a pariah. You have to wear a D on your blouse. You know what? Forget it. Of course, I'm sure you already have. You leave that church and you do not look back. You're not going to convince this nitwit of that. It's ridiculous. And look, and I wrote a book on this. I have a book on everything, as most of you know. Stop feeling guilty for your divorce. In many cases, I have ladies who and of course, I should say in every case, if it's a Christian, you want to make sure you're following the book, God's book, the Bible, in getting a divorce. They want to make sure that they have biblical reason. And so before the divorce, it's a good book to read. Stop feeling guilty for your divorce. And it's a good book to read afterwards. If Satan is on your case and you're wondering, boy, did I do the wrong thing? Because there are many churches that believe, like this dumb pastor, that any divorce is sinful and it's the woman's fault and you can never get remarried and you continue to live in adultery if you get remarried. That's all wrong. That book can help clear it all up. Even, and of course, and there are people, and God loves you. He doesn't care if you repent of your sin. Let's say you were married and it wasn't even to a narc and you got divorced. This was maybe before you knew Jesus or and even afterwards. And you look back and you go, you know what? Okay, I was selfish. I was wrong. I had no biblical reason to divorce Bob or Stan or Debbie or whoever your spouse's name was. Guess what? If you honestly confess that sin before the Lord, it is not the unpardonable sin. It is in some churches, not in the Bible. God completely forgives you. And if you work through those issues, guess what? The slate is clean and you can remarry. Not many churches believe that. And so they want you to sit in a special section of church because you're divorced and you didn't have biblical reason. Well, that's ridiculous. God clears the slate. Sandy and I have known scores of couples who love the Lord and in honest conversation, and they know we don't care because we love them, previous marriage to someone else and it ended in a divorce and they didn't have a biblical reason. God doesn't care. They've confessed that sin, and in their new marriage, God is blessing them richly. They're serving him. Jesus is at the center of their marriage. All is good. Let's see what else is going on over here. Oh, for heaven's sake. My ex always called me fat and ugly. I kissed a guy yesterday who thought I was beautiful. Oh, I know, sweetheart. Yeah, this is exactly what happens. It puts you at great risk when your narc is cutting you down and calling you fat and ugly, and some guy shows you attention and thinks you're attractive. It's awfully easy to do this. Number one, if you're married to a narc, and it sounds like you are, you don't tell him jack diddly squat about you kissing this guy. In a normal marriage, of course, you'd have to. I work couples do that all the time. Not with a narc. Tell him nothing. But listen to me, and you already know what I'm going to tell you. Get away from this guy. Confess that's a sin. Confess that before the Lord. It was a kiss. That's bad enough. You're not going to have any interaction with this guy again. You're going to move on. You're going to have to work through the issues with your narc. And if it's a narc, you're going to leave and divorce. So I got the materials to help you. Get away from this current guy. That will only lead to grief. And if the narc does find out, no matter all the horrible sins he's done, calling you fat and ugly and all the other abuse and maybe his own affairs, he will if he finds that you've sinned like this, he will shove that down your throat the rest of your life. So you don't tell him. Here's something else about church. We're having a lot of church issues here, which I think is important. This dear lady says, yep, have been to church, have not been to church regularly in 10 years and don't miss it. The people were so judgmental. And this is coming from someone who grew up in a religious home. Yeah, well, you know what? And I guess she had some background issues too with her home, maybe cultish. Yeah, I hear you. I think in time, as you heal from the divorce, as you heal from what happened to you that the narc did, and other people in the church, because they cause trauma too. They wound you terribly. There's a passage in the Psalms where David's talking about, if it was my enemy that betrayed me, I could take it because I would expect that. But it's when it's my close associate, the person I worship with. Oh, that's a deep wound. It's okay to take some time off for church. God has no problem with that. But as you heal, I want to encourage you, as you heal from all those traumas, and I've got a book for you. You'll be shocked to hear this. I know this is stunning. I didn't want a divorce. Now what? God has used this book in some amazing ways. It's not easy, but as you go through these steps of healing, it takes a number of months, and it could be with a therapist, Christian therapist or not, you're going to be able to be healed and ready now to look for a new church. And I'm telling you, there are wonderful churches out there, many of them. You just have to find them. And you'll kind of ease in. It'll be the back row for a while. And you have to know what the pastor thinks about abuse and about narcissism because you've got to have support. Absolutely. So that 10 years is a long time. That's okay. God will love you and take you right back. That's what he's like. Yeah, this is a good one. How to deal with disassociation after narcissistic abuse. Yeah, not that uncommon. Serious. And you're going to need some serious therapy for this. And very often, in order to cope with the narcissistic abuse, there is some dissociation that takes place. To be in the bedroom and have physical intimacy with a man that treats you this horribly, not uncommon for a woman to find ways to cope and disassociate, not be there. Okay, so this can now, once it starts, it can really gather steam. But the good news is there are therapies for this. I did this kind of work years ago. Difficult, takes some time. You have to heal from the traumas and you got to pull the person back together. So you need to find a therapist, not a pastoral counselor or someone who doesn't really know much about this. You have to have an experienced person that can help you deal with the disassociation. Because after you've left the narc, it doesn't go away. Now it's a coping mechanism and you're going to continue to dissociate, dealing with stress in your life because that's your pattern. You don't need to do that anymore, but you will still do it. So get the right therapist. I have a therapist directory on my website, davideclarkepht.com. Maybe we have somebody that is well-trained in this that can help you. Oh, these kind of comments are always welcome. The book, I Don't Want a Divorce, has turned my marriage around. Well, great. That is another great book. Guess who wrote that book? I'm just kidding. It's me. And this is a good book, not when you're married to a narc. Don't waste your time on that. That's for normal couples, even with serious problems, marriage breakdown, terrible, on the verge of divorce. That's why I wrote I Don't Want a Divorce. But if you've got both people willing to do the work, as this lady says, it can turn it around. So if you know someone who's not married to a narc, but the marriage is awful, that's why I wrote that book. And God has used that in many, many cases. So I appreciate you saying that. But I don't recommend it for if you're married to a narc. We're ending that marriage. That's not going to turn around. Does a person become a narc, or is it also hereditary, or can it also be from childhood trauma? Yeah, all those are possibilities. I think all of us are born into families where there are certain tendencies genetically. However, God does not give us a pass in that. So what really is happening, and all the narcs I've seen and the spouses of narcs that I've talked to, even a little bit of family history, and you know exactly why the person's a narc. He was an only child. His father left. His mother doted on him and worshiped him and created a narc. One possibility. There's other siblings, but he was the golden child, or it could be a lady, the golden child, and wonderful. There was a spotlight, a halo. That's how you create a narc. Could be trauma. In response to childhood trauma, sexual abuse, just being treated terribly by one parent or both. There are people, if they have the tendency, they'll develop narcissism as a way to protect themselves. So all those are possible. But I'm telling you, it doesn't make any difference because the narc is not going to work on those issues, typically. Last thing they'll do. So, but although it's a good question. Many of you can relate to this. I've been emotionally drained for years. Exactly. When you live with a narc, it drains the life out of you. It's Chinese water torture. Day by day by day, it's killing you emotionally, killing you physically, killing you spiritually. You have nothing left. No joy, no peace. That's why the answer, the ultimate solution, is getting strong enough and healthy enough to leave and divorce the narc, because it's never going to stop, ever. And I'm here to tell you, I've said this many times on these live streams and in other videos, the narc is well aware of what he's doing. It is intentional abuse. It wouldn't matter if it wasn't. If I run you over with my car every day, I don't know you're back there. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm sorry again. Okay, who cares? I'm still crushing you. But the narc knows exactly what he's doing and he's enjoying it. It's entertainment for him. Can you imagine a person? This is the level of evil we're talking about with your basic narc. It's a joke to him and vastly entertaining to watch someone that you're supposed to love. You control them, you abuse them, you criticize them, you have affairs on them, you turn their own children against them. Oh my, and he's loving every single second of it. It's a tremendous rush. Normal people don't get that, of course, because they're not normal. So get out. See what this one. But how can someone still use trauma excuse for treating someone that way after 40 years? Oh yeah, the narc will come up with all kinds of excuses. And it's very common for the narc to excuse his behavior. And he's not even sorry. You get these lame apologies and these explanations that are just kind of a joke, but it's just to get you off his back. But yeah, if he suffered any abuse as a child, dad neglected him, you rejected him, his mom didn't give him affection, or there was even serious abuse. Number one, it's very likely he's lying his stupid narc head off, and none of that happened. But this is how he drew you to him, and so now you feel bad, and you're going to help him, and he needs someone to love on him when the whole thing's a lie. Even if it's true, it doesn't make any difference. Hey, you're a grown man now. I've told many clients this, and I tend to be as empathic as I can. But when we're doing therapy here, I don't want you blaming anybody else for what's happened. And we're going to work through the issues with the people that abused you. Absolutely. Anger, frustration, deep hurt, woundedness, trauma. We're going to work those things through. And then you're going to leave that behind and you're going to move forward. And never again will you use it as an excuse, because God doesn't allow us to excuse any of our sins. But that's classic narcissism. They're quick and they always come up with a lie that excuses their behavior. Hey, buddy, you can work on that issue, that past trauma, if you want to. They just don't do that. Yeah, this lady's right. And this is very common. Narcs typically have an abandonment wound, very common. And so they build this narcissistic core to protect themselves from that wound. But I'm saying, who the heck cares? That is not your concern. And of course, many of you have done this, and God love you, and God does love you. You're a good wife. You've done everything you can do. If you're aware of that abandonment wound, if it's even real, marriage intensives, individual counseling, books you've read, loving on him, doing the best you can, and it doesn't make any difference because he's not going to get his work done. That is not your concern. You've tried for years, enough. You get away from him. And if at some point in his life he wants to work on that, marriage aside, because you're divorcing him, great. But they don't get their work done. They don't. Here's a man, and we do have men that are fans. Of course we do. In fact, this last week I talked to a number of men, and I loved it. They're married to narc wives. Okay, well the principles are the same. He says it's hard, especially when one falls for the recreation of amazing times that occurred. Boy, oh yeah. When narcs are on or borderlines are on, oh my goodness, it is incredible. It's a rush. It's marvelous. They're just on top of the world and they make you feel wonderful. So fantasizing about the good, which totally warps how bad the bad was. Right. You use it to kind of cope and forget about the bad, and the bad far outweighs the good. And good. He's in a much a mentally better place. Good, John. You have to work through this. It's part of it. It is an addiction of sorts, because it's when they're on and the narc is wonderful. Oh, life is incredible, and you tend to forget what's happened. But as many of you know, they will turn on you on a dime, and they'll be a witch. Let's say it's the wife in this case. Oh, she'll get the claws out because you didn't turn the garage light off, or it's always some stupid thing, or you spilled your milk, or you didn't get the Toasties cereal at the store. It's just always the dumbest thing, and they turn on you. And then it's just this massive overreaction, and you just hang on until they're nice again. No, that's no way to live. No. Yeah, divorce is a nightmare with the narc. Going through it now. Oh man, I hear you, Tammy. Absolutely. Being married to a narc's bad enough. Divorcing is a nightmare. I've got it. You'll be shocked. I have a book for you. Ins and outs, very specific book, Escaping Your Narcissist. This is the manual for divorcing a narc. I'm not going to tell you, and I tell many people every day, you need to divorce him. I get the information, monster, evil, destroying you, kids hate you, you have health problems, you were in the hospital, he never even showed up, he dropped you off with the car still running and moving in front of the emergency room, whatever. The stories never end. I'm not going to recommend you divorce and not tell you exactly how to do it. That's not how I am. So here's your divorce manual, Escaping Your Narcissist. Subtitle, What to Expect When You Divorce a Narc, Do's and Don'ts. Oh yeah, it is a nightmare. The truth of the matter is, as you're divorcing the narc, all the horrible behavior, and he brings it to a whole new nasty evil level, will just confirm you're doing the right thing, absent by divorcing him. But it's still a nightmare. And the legal system is a joke. Across this country of ours, a joke. That's why you get the best attorney you can, and this book will help you navigate through to get rid of them, but it will be awful. Narcs are masters at manipulating the legal system because these legal people, by and large, could care less. It's a cash business for them. You're paying them. They don't care if it goes an extra month or two. They don't care if you get a good settlement. They're going home to their 2-story mansion. They don't care about you. Even that really good attorney, you're not going to be his best friend, but you get the job done. Yeah, the trauma bond this lady is talking about. Yep. Yeah. They have many ways that they trauma bond you. And this new book I've got called Codependent Hell, Goodbye, the subtitle, Goodbye Trauma Bond, Goodbye Narcissist, is coming out in January. Look forward to that. It's going to be powerful. It's edgy. It's in your face. It's very strong. But it is how I've worked many people through breaking the trauma bond. And that is no easy matter. Yeah. Yeah, Angela is absolutely right. Best decision you can make is to leave the narc. You won't regret it. You will only regret not leaving sooner. Absolutely 100% true. I talk to ladies all day long. I talked to a few today who, looking back, they regret, oh, Dave, I should have left 5 years ago. I should have left 10 years ago. I should have left 25 years ago. When I first discovered, when I was dating this guy, that he had slept with my sister, or he'd slept with somebody else, or he blew up in the car and left me by the side of the road. You know what? Don't live in regret. That's where Satan wants you to live. We all make mistakes. You were in love. You thought he'd be different. They can fool you anyway. They're usually wonderful daters, and you tend to blow by the red flags. Don't live in regret. What she says is true, but move forward. You know what? The sooner you can leave, the better. Yeah, and we'll get you out. Good. This is what I like to hear. So excited for the new Trauma Bond book. Man, we are too. God, and many of you are writers and creative people. And so as we've worked on this, me and the team, it's been fun. And we feel strongly that God gives us these ideas. He wants us to write these materials and do the videos. And I'm convinced he's going to use this in a mighty way. Thank you, Susan, for being excited. We certainly are. Yes. Yeah, I hear you, Shannon. Listen to this. Yeah, she regrets, meeting him 25 years ago. Yeah, I know. Just don't dwell there. Don't think about the wasted years and boy, I could have done this and I could have done that. You know what? What the Bible says is that God will replace what the locusts have eaten. He'll restore what the locusts have eaten. And that's what he's going to do for you. It's a brand new life. I don't care if you're 85 years old, using a walker. In the time you have left, away from the narc, it's going to be beautiful. And I've seen many people have the last 20, 30, 40 years of their lives. Oh, be wonderful. You know what? Don't live in regret. Yeah. Yeah, let's see what this, yeah. Was something else I thought. I'm looking through some of these. Yeah. Here's a good one. What do you think the odds are for a narcissist to change? I believe I have through God and therapy. However, this took a long time. Yep, absolutely. If this is legit, I was just looking for some opinions, doctor. Thank you in advance. You know what? Yeah, it's extremely rare. I have seen it. And this man might be one of them. He might be a narc that's trying to fool us. I don't know. I hope not. It takes a long time. It would be years, serious, ongoing therapy. Now, we know what God can do through the power of Jesus Christ, his death on the cross, the Holy Spirit. I mean, anything, you name it, he can do it. So if a narcissist will even a full-blown one, will actually take the steps and 18 months and 2 years and continue, okay, it's possible. It just happens so rarely. I'm telling you, it's not even worth talking about. And I hope this man's one of them. My feeling is he probably wasn't a full-blown. The full-blown narc, I have never seen change. Ever. I'm just 40 years, never. Full-blown, dyed in the wool, never. But if you've got someone with not a full-blown narc, but strong narcissistic tendencies, but there's other possibilities, okay, that's the one that may change, and even they don't change very often. Here's a good question. I like this. And I've written a book for you. She may have just come on. How would I go about filing for divorce? You know what? It's like a 1-2 punch. Enough is enough talks about, got this cough going on, that, but we're going to carry on. This is the preparation, the steps of preparation in all different areas to get you ready. And then for the actual divorce process, from all the documentation and getting ready secretly to divorce him, all the financial moves, the attorney, how to file, what to say when you file, and how to get through the process. That's what escaping your narcissist is for, my dear. And it's going to be just exactly what you need. Yeah. My husband made me psychotic. Yeah, I believe it. I've seen it happen. I was in the hospital multiple times until I divorced him. Yeah, exactly. This is what narcs do. They will literally, quite literally, drive you insane. And then when you break down because of the horrible stress and the trauma and then ripping your heart and soul and mind to shreds, when you're just bouncing off the walls, then the narc, who has enjoyed every second of it, destroying you, says, look at her. She's crazy. Look, kids, mom's crazy. Look, church leaders, mom's crazy. Hey, neighbors, look, she's in the hospital. She's nuts. He loves it. When the truth is, it's all his fault. Praise God, this lady's gotten away. You literally save yourself because they will drive you crazy. Here's if a narc says it was a joke, I'm not sure what she's talking about. Maybe something he did wrong. Narc says it was a joke and no divorce needed. Oh, yeah. If you're married to a narc, you need a divorce. You can't believe a word that comes out of his stupid mouth. Yeah, this happens a lot. We're going to go a few more minutes here and then look forward to 2025. We're going to kick off the new year in January with another live stream. And we'll do one every 2 or 3 weeks like we always do. But this will be promoting and launching the new ebook, Codependent Help. But I tell you what, this ebook is also going to be very helpful to you in many ways, responding in specific ways to his abuse. But this person says, I got out. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. And he sucked me back in. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Now I don't know how to leave again. It's even worse than it was before. Exactly right. I talk to ladies all day long and some men. You're out, you know you need to be out, but the narc is a master at getting you back. And I'm telling you now, he loves, I mentioned this before in the live stream, he loves the whole process of lying his head off, charming you, love bombing you, finding every flying monkey he can get, even people he's met in a grocery store line to come after you, pressure you, make all kinds of promises. I'm going to change, I'm going to do, dripping with sincerity. And you make the mistake, like this dear lady did, of believing him and going back to him. And then, as she says, it's worse than ever. He will never forgive you for leaving. He will make your life a living hell. Plus, often when you go back, kids lose respect for you. The ones that wanted you to divorce him, friends that were on your support team tend to go away because you went back. You've now delegitimized everything you said about him because you went back. People now don't believe that you've been abused by him, even though it's the God's truth. You know what? Use 3 words. Is it 3 words? You start over. Yes, 3 words. You start over. You build your support team. It's a secret plan. You get right back on track. You're not strong enough. I'm telling you what, this book would help you. This new ebook, From Codependent to Independent, the ebook transcript of this video series, I think it's made to order for someone that's gone back and now is just crushed. How am I going to restart? You weren't strong enough to leave him. Don't live in regret. You're going to start all over and you're going to get out. He won't know what hit him. And frankly, you don't care. Okay, I'm going to spend a few more. Oh, yeah, here's another court thing. Oh, yeah, the court's a nightmare with these people. She's talking to somebody else. I know you're helping each other on this, and I love that. This is a community of support. Just got my belongings after fighting in court since December 2018. Oh, for heaven's sake. It's exactly what the narc does. Gets a sleaze attorney and drags the whole thing out for months, and in this case, years. Oh my goodness, it's beyond ridiculous. It's more torture. That's why the strongest and meanest attorney you can get is important. Yeah. Okay, we're going to end with this one. I think my sister-in-law is a full-blown narc. Very possible. And she has zeroed in on me. I think my husband is something of a narcissist. Well, yeah, you may be surrounded. Not uncommon in families to be surrounded by narcs. You stay the heck away from this crazy sister-in-law. You have nothing to do with her. That's going to cause some problems in the family. Whatever, tough. And I guess it's your brother who's involved there. And if your husband is a narc, I would recommend the beginning of the process. And she's not sure about it. If you're not sure if you're living with a narc, that's why I wrote this ebook, My Marriage Hurts. It will spell it out, chapter after chapter. Here's what a narc is. Here's what he does. Here's what he says. And I cover the covert narc in here too. My Marriage Hurts. Oh yeah. And that will clarify it. And then you go from there. And I give you the path, the escape path of leaving. Okay, we're stopping. It's almost 45 minutes. Thank you so much for your input. Loved it as always. We look forward to 2025. All the resources are on davideclarkephd.com. You can get the Fire the Narc shirt, all my books, all the videos. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas to all. That one kind of froze.
Oh, must be the internet connection.
Yeah, it might have been a problem. This was working fine. That was a lot of great folks. Yeah. Thanks, Doc, she says. That's sweet. These are good people.